Hey guys, Dark Skeleton here, and let's clear up one thing before we get started. Bolvar Fordragon, Retribution Paladin. Tyrian Forging, Protection Paladin. Anyway, back to the card itself. Bolvar Fordragon is a 1/7 legendary for Paladins. It costs 5 mana. As predicted, I thought it would be around the 4 to 5 mana range, since they already have Tyrian, which is freaking huge at 8 mana. Now this guy has a one-of-a-kind special ability, which is interesting in that it activates while it's in your hand. So whenever a friendly minion dies in the field while this guy's in your hand, he gains +1 attack. Naturally, this effect is stackable and theoretically limitless. Now what's maybe one of the craziest things here is that he is probably one of the few 5+ drops that you might actually want to hold on to in your opening hand. The more battles this Retribution Paladin gets to watch, the stronger he's gonna get. Honestly, that's gotta be a pretty hard job. He's a watcher kind of dude. He just observes a war from the distance, and then when the time is right to strike, he jumps into combat to avenge the 10 people he just watched die. Now, a card that comes in mind that this card is probably intended to synergize with is Muster for Battle. Muster for Battle lets you summon 3 1/1 tokens for 3 mana, and it also gives you a 1/4 Light's Justice, which is a pretty crappy weapon, but it's still good for bashing aggro decks. So you keep summoning all your dudes, and when the time is right, when this guy has watched enough people die, you bring him in, possibly as a 5/7, or if you're really lucky, maybe a 7/7. But the main problem to keep in mind is that this is a special ability that does that. At his base, he's only a 1/7, so that means he is extremely vulnerable to a silence. A silenced Fordragon is about as useful as a silenced Baron Rivendare. Another major problem with this card is what if you draw him way late into the game, like you don't even get him until turn 10, most of your weak guys have already died, and then this guy's basically a dead card. You have nothing to kill off for him to get buffed with. Now in theory that situation isn't the end of the world because Paladins can always make 1/1 tokens. And at the same time, this card might be running more aggressive Paladin decks rather than late game control decks. Which means that turns 10 through 20 are pretty irrelevant because you've already lost by that point. But as an aggressive Paladin, if you draw this card on turn 5 or later really, then this card's pretty much dead. It won't have the attack you need, and it'll pretty much be useless. So maybe in actual practice this card is better in control decks, because in a control deck if you hold on to Bolvar for the entire game, you might be able to bring him out as something like a 15/7 or a 20/7, something insane like that. And if he was to get removed in a control deck, it wouldn't be the end of the world. You're only paying 5 mana for this guy, and most of the good removal spells at least cost 3 mana, like a Hex, like a Shadow Word Death. And it might be better for your Bolvar to get silenced instead of your Tyrian. At first I was like, whoa, this guy's insane, you can make him a 15/7 before you even play him. But in order for him to be any good, you need to have him in your hand as dead weight for a long time. He might end up being good, but I'm kind of leaning on the cynical side of thinking that he's just going to be silence bait and pretty much a dead card for you in most decks anyway. It's a very interesting card, but only time will tell if it's an average legendary or if it's actually going to be a card that makes it into a lot of Paladin decks. The thing that I like most about it is that it's cheap enough that it might be able to make it into an aggressive Paladin deck. Muster for Battle definitely kind of hints at that. Now, as far as Arena goes, I think in Arena this card will be significantly better. In Arena, not only do you play more minions to buff this guy, but the games tend to go on longer and there tends to also be less direct removal. If you were able to play this guy as something like a 10/7 that can't be removed in Arena mode, that would be very, very nice for 5 mana. Anywho, I've been Dark Skeleton. If you like my videos, consider donating to my Patreon. Thank you all very much for watching, and I'll see you all next time.